worst memory of drama school, Toi Whakaari, was that they failed me in comedy. And, that's, to this very day, it still hits a raw nerve. My friend rang me about skits and said, they're looking for a Samoan. And they auditioned me. And I'd never heard of it. And so I rang my agent at the time and said, why haven't I been auditioned? And they said, you don't do comedy. And that's drama school again. They failed me in comedy, so they said, no, you don't do comedy. And I said, I'd like a bash at it. And then I met Danny Mulheron, and he foolishly said yes. And he's to blame for a lot of the things in my life, is Danny Mulheron. It's very rare you get a writer that can sit outside himself and then put himself into the world of islanders and actually he's got an ear for them, and he's got a heart for them, and it came through in the scripts, and with Danny, who's he's phenomenal, and just the way he sees life as well. He made stuff so good. But the real star as well for me was Radiradirah, and him as a mum, I couldn't have had. And no offence to my wife now, I've never had a wife like Hori. I couldn't think of one. I thought, maybe Hercules, or maybe something like Venezuela. And he said, no, Herman the Henchman. And I thought, that doesn't sound so cool. And he goes, yeah, it does. It does. And so he convinced me that Herman the Henchman is cool, which apparently all the kids are still to this day around the playgrounds, they're all going, yeah, if only I was Herman the Henchman. So you can be Robin Hood, I'll be Herman the Henchman. They say, we're doing Avatar, you're playing Avatar, I'll be the big blue Smurf and you can be Herman the Henchman. No money ever got exchanged. I used to look and say, well, wouldn't you pay for your drink? The till was never used. I used to bemoan that. But I loved it because I knew on a Friday that normally they get all my lines out of the way by 4. And, well, after 4 o'clock you still got a couple of hours shooting, and there's a live bar there, and accidentally some bottles that get opened up, and just walking the back of set, walking along, and it became a famous feature for all the other cast members, who didn't have many lines that we knew on Friday after 4 o'clock. They'd say, acting, I'll have a drink, and I'd pour them a real drink, and we'd sit there quite happily. For me, the journey on Brotown started when we were backstage at the Herald Theatre having a few beers after a show of Naked Samoans, and then Oscar came up with Elizabeth, and I'd never met Elizabeth, and she came in and she proposed this idea of animated something, blah blah blah, and we all went, we're in, count us in, cool, we'll do it. And then we didn't hear anything for another 2 years, or was it 2? I think it was 2 years, or a year maybe. And then she came back to us, and then she said, I've got all the money. And I went, yeah. Who are you? What is it we agreed to? We wrote this episode and it was all about pee. And then they said, we can't actually say pee about, the drug, which is, well, why can't we? It's decimating our society, and what are you trying to hide? So, and then we came up with a clever thing, so we'll make a drug called Upside Down B. And also touched on suicide. And suicide is always interesting, It's something islanders seem to take to in huge numbers. And, so in a way we're having a bit of fun and saying, hey, just don't, please don't. And that's the most proud. I think the episode was when I thought, collectively our stupidity sort of went somewhere for good and not for evil, and poos and wees, which I still love. I still love poos and wees. I still get kids running up to me saying, "Hey, Polo! Hey, Polo!" Yeah, in Samoa, when we landed in Samoa. "Hey, Polo! Hey, Polo!" I was in the Cook Islands and, doing something in the Cook Islands. Rather in Otaki, it's out of atoll, arrived at the airport there. "Hey, it's Polo!" I enjoyed that movie immensely. I got to play with all the other nakeds and drive a van. Like other people, they drive tanks, shoot guns. But, in Samoa, to drive the van, that's pretty special. To drive the Ongo Bongo van. I had the easiest job. Turn up, say I'm a mechanic, don't touch anything, and drink beer. And wax lyrical. And that was the funny part. It was always the waxing lyrical with Falani, and I realised, oh my lord, I found myself at one stage actually speaking waxing lyrical like Falani one day, and I thought, oh no, shame. It's just nonsensical. It's just noise for the sake of noise. I love the fact I was in a wheelchair, and the one thing we practiced the fight sequence when I get hit by the nunchucks, and we put the padding on, and we said, and go. Okay, ready, go. Rehearsed it. And then they put the padding in, and they said, right, ready, Dave? I said, yep. Camera's rolling, yep. And action. Talkie. Raised my arms to avoid the nunchucks, and all the padding came up as well. So when he was whacking me, it was actually hitting the body. And at one stage I started crying and just trying to hold him and say, "Come on, that's enough. Come on, that's enough, man. That's enough." And God bless Taika. He said, there was one take where I really believed you were hurting. And I said, was it the one where my eyes were welling up? And I was just saying, "That's enough, man. That's enough." I was talking with Oscar, and we decided not to go to Mud Eyes or anything like that in case they say, "Hey, what are you doing with our old kuya?" But it was really wonderful. I find ad-libs, I really keep the spontaneity up. And I suppose when you got a script, you tend to become locked in. And the first time you find it funny yourself, second time you work out the mechanics, and third time, there's something strange that happens between the third time you do it and fourth time you do it. There's like some sort of soul loss. I don't know, law of averages. You lose something there. And what I like about ad-libbing is that you can still, keep the general gist, but then you spice it to make it yourself, so that you're honestly, relating to what's going on. I mean, I like scripts that are bullet points. They say from point A to B, this is what has to happen, and you've got, say, 20 seconds that has to happen and I like stuff like that where you know where you're headed, but you can just sort of either cruise or really hammer it, or it keeps it interesting for the performer, because the worst thing about acting is when you see actors acting, it's painful. It's like the worst thing you should ever watch. From what I can remember, there's a duck and there's a love story, and then that's where things become hazy for me, because we were in a truck a lot, so I don't know if it's a duck, a truck, and a love story, and something happens to the duck. I'm not sure if it happened to the truck. What happened to the truck and the duck in the love story sort of goes a bit askew, but at the end, something happens, and I remember we had guitars by the end. I remember we playing guitars, and that's what it was to me, what I can remember.